Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Mr. Joynt Live show. Thank you for joining us on this Friday evening. We are here on this channel every Friday night at 8 p.m. In case you missed us, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. Okay, so we try to be here every Friday night. So if you miss a show, don't worry. They're taped, they're recorded, and you can come back and watch them. We know everybody goes out and does their thing on Friday nights, but if not, you can stay here with us and join us, and we appreciate your viewership. Okay, and if you're on Facebook, make sure you share with your friends, okay, just so Mr. Joynt gets a broader audience. And if you go to YouTube, you could chat live with Mr. Joynt, and all we ask is you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. And you got to remember, Mr. Joynt is he's not on any social media platforms. This is it. This is the only social media platform he's on. So he's not on Facebook. He's not on YouTube. He's not on Instagram. He's not on Twitter. He's not on Tinder. He's not on Grindr. He's not on any of these other platforms. This is the only place to access Mr. Joynt. And if you are on YouTube, you can chat live with Mr. Joynt. Also, if you are on Facebook and you want to join YouTube, I always leave a link on the description on the invite. So you could just click on that link and join YouTube, and we will give you some time to do that. Okay. And then you can chat live, and we will do a better job of going over the chats. All right. And we are a self-supported show. So if you want to support the show and you don't have Cash App, that's the monetary thing that we use to help support the show. You could click on the link. I always leave it in the description, and the promo code is already on it. But if you do it through the App Store, you have to put in the promo code, and you get a free $5. Now, the $5 isn't worth anything, but you can get a free Mr. Joynt Live t-shirt, okay? We don't care how much you donate. It's been a good week for me, so we'll just give you the shirt, all right? And so you get a free t-shirt every donation. But if you've already got a t-shirt, and we've got rid of a lot of them, you can buy Mr. Joynt a cold beverage, okay? Whatever cold beverage you like, whatever he likes to drink, okay? And you just use the $RJoynt on Cash App. You can also be a guest on Mr. Joynt Live, and the way we do that is you can contact me through Facebook Messenger, and if we're not friends, obviously we can't contact each other. So the only other way we do that is, there we go. Facebook Messenger or my email at robbiejoynt@hotmail.com, and you could be a guest on Mr. Joynt Live. And before we get started, let me just give a quick shout out to our main sponsor. And our main sponsor is Living Color World on eBay. Okay, so if you want to avoid this supply chain crisis, this is what you do. And I actually put a link on the Facebook and YouTube channel. Okay, so you could just click on that link and go straight to this website, Living Color World on eBay. If you don't know how to do that, or if the link isn't working, let me show you real quick how to do this. Okay, and how you do it is you click on eBay on search engine, okay, and the eBay stores pop up. All right, but don't fill out this search for anything bar. Okay, go over here to the right where it says search, and then go over a little farther where it says advanced, and you click on that, okay? And then that takes you to the advanced search. And then you just scroll down here to find store. You click on that, okay? And that takes you to this, and you type in Living Color World in this search engine box on eBay, and you click search, okay? And then the only store on eBay that has the Living Color World logo is right here. It's Living Color World. All right, you click on that, and then bam, you're at the store. And everything you could ever want for Christmas this year is on this list. Women's clothes, men's clothes, jewelry, shoes, toys. Avoid the supply chain crisis. Avoid giving billionaires more money. Just do this store first. And if there's nothing you can find, then yeah, of course, go on the other pages. But try this one first. They're running a 20% off discount on all women's clothing, all shoes. They're doing these bulk sales. It's insane. You could get like 10 shirts for like $12. You could get 13 ties for $20. It's insane. So buy as much things as you can on Living Color World first before you go on any of the billionaires' websites, okay? And with all that being said, the worst part of this show is over, and let me bring on Mr. Joynt. Here he is.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. There
Hey,
you
buddy.
are.
I guess I'm in the dark here a little bit still, but kind of the story of my life. All right, there we go. Not too much. The wrinkles are a little disconcerting. All righty, I got the shirt on.
Yeah,
There it is.
looks good
There
on
it is.
you.
Yeah, my wife straightened it
Mr.
out for
Joynt
me.
Live, happy Friday
Thank you.
night.
Happy
Cold
Friday
beverages.
night to you. Yes, cold beverages. Yes, I have my cold beverage right here.
What is that?
You have
Malbec on ice with
it's
raspberries or something?
Merlot with raspberries. Sorry,
Oh,
I'm a sissy.
that's
And
okay.
we stocked up. We did some. I don't want to give Trader Joe's a shout out, but they had a special on their $2 chuck, which is now $4 chuck because of Biden inflation. So, but I still a good deal.
So
Stocked
you're
up.
fighting inflation. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
fighting inflation
You know,
or or shrinkage or
inflation is
whatever it
actually
is.
good if you're wealthy.
Yeah, well, that's not me.
And I can kind of explain it to you real quick before we
Go
get
ahead, do
started
it, do it.
on Big Pharma.
Yep.
So most wealthy people borrow money. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
borrow money, not like you and I can borrow money,
Yeah.
but they borrow money. They get like really low, 0% interest, and so as inflation goes up, their debt value goes down. Does that make sense to you?
Explain it.
Okay, so let's say simple math: you borrow $2,000, right,
All right.
from a bank, 0% interest. And what you do with that money is you buy assets, right? So let's say you bought 4 Apple computers at $500 a piece, right?
Okay.
Okay, so now you liquidate, you invested in the assets. So now you have 4 Apple computers at $500 in each. So the inflation goes up, and now those Apple computers are worth $1,000 each, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now you just sell 2 Apple computers for $2,000. You pay your debt back. You bought 4, so now you have 2 for free.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what the wealthy do.
Okay.
That's the trick to inflation.
So at Trader Joe's, I got two
So
buck
at
chuck.
Trader Joe's, you
Yep.
didn't borrow any money to buy that
No.
wine. Now you could
No.
have borrowed money to buy that wine,
Yeah.
stored it in your closet,
Right.
right?
And
Waited for
two.
the price to go up, right? Sold
Yep.
half of your wine stock,
Yep.
gave the money back to the bank who you borrowed it from, and now you
Okay.
have a half a case of wine for free.
Wow. That's it.
The rich love inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation only hurts the middle class and
Yep.
lower class and poor people and all that. So
And your cousin Ricky sent you a cartoon on that. I wish we could have shown it. I don't know if he sent you one. He sent me one. I think maybe he sent your brother Jeffrey one too. I can't remember. Pretty funny. It's of a cannon shooting an apple off a guy's head, and the guy is on the shirt. It says middle class, but on the top of his head is a real small apple that says the rich, and they're asking him to stand really still as they shoot the cannon.
yeah,
And obviously it's going to kill him. It's going to kill the middle class, and maybe the apple will fall free or whatever.
I
Really
hung out with
interesting.
Ricky this morning. We drove to
Okay,
Mariana, so it was a good talk, and
good.
he's doing well. He looks great.
Yeah, and
I don't know if they're watching the show, but
the kids are coming over with Leanne tomorrow. Leanne, class of 2007, Leanne Nations is who we're talking about. Of
well,
West. Yes, there
good
you go.
job giving her.
Yeah, shout out. Sure.
Well, no, giving her first and last name. Now she's going to have identity theft.
I'm
So think
sorry. I'm
bad.
sorry. Geez, there I go. We got to learn that
Yeah.
lesson. I have to learn that lesson. Sorry.
Whoops.
Yep. All right.
All right. So
Here we
tonight's
are.
episode 9. Here we are, episode 9. 9 episodes, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to give you a shout out, Dad.
Okay.
So we had a award from YouTube.
Okay.
We had an achievement.
Wow.
And so the achievement was we've had over 1,000 views, actually 1,080 views on our channel.
Wow. Wow.
So we are now the number 2 least watched show on YouTube.
Ha! We're not the
So
number one anymore.
congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Well,
Yeah. So
as Rodney,
thanks to all our viewers.
yeah, as Rodney Dangerfield once said, watch out for number 1, but don't step in number 2.
There you go.
There you go. All right, carry
Proud
on.
of you. Proud of
Thank
you.
you.
Proud of you.
Number 2. That's pretty symbolic.
He
Oh
gets
my
no
gosh.
respect. That guy.
No, he doesn't. He's dead. So I'm pretty close. So go ahead.
All right. So Big
What's
Pharma.
going
What do you
on?
know about Big Pharma? Big Pharma.
Well,
Now, before we get
yeah,
started, let me
yeah,
just do this kind of like,
yes.
save us from any kind of lawsuits or
No,
anything
we
or
don't
any
want to do
attack.
that. Yeah.
This show tonight we will not talk about vaccines or vaccine mandates or
No,
anything like that. Tonight
no.
is not that. What we're talking about tonight is the history of the pharmaceutical industry, how
Right.
it got started, who started it, the corruption involved with everything that went on, the
Mhm.
FDA, which was formed, uh, how the pharmaceutical industries became super wealthy and started getting mixed into politics. Uh, and they don't cure diseases, they just treat diseases. They don't want to cure diseases. So
No.
let's just, this isn't an anti-vax show. We're
Mhm.
not promoting any kind of health advice or anything like that. All we're doing is we're just going to go. If anyone has watched this show for a while, you guys know that we just talk about history. We talk about how history repeats itself, and then we kind of make connections on how the current trends align. So if somebody was doing something nefarious back then, or it was human error, or they were just being dumb, it's the same. History repeats itself, right, Dad? We
Yes,
always
it
say
does.
that history
Yes, it
repeats
does.
itself.
It
Okay.
does.
All right. So let's just get that clear, because I don't want to be,
No.
reported for any kind of stupid things. So
Mhm.
I don't want to be put in the gulag
No.
again.
Yeah. Just.
All right. So
uh, yeah.
1902,
Yeah.
medicinal herbs, medicinal medicine, holistic medicines were very prominent. You remember Civil War, right? So that's
Sure.
where Colonel Lilly, Eli Lilly, right? That's a big
Yes.
pharmaceutical company
Yes.
now. Pfizer was a big. They were giving
Mhm.
pain treatment to the Civil War. The Union basically is who they sided with.
Yeah.
They were giving a lot of pain medication to the Union,
Right.
but they also use a lot of herbal medicines that back then they didn't synthesize anything, which
Mhm.
meant
No.
they didn't create anything in a lab. They just went around and they found the herbs and
Mhm.
or they imported, opium and stuff like that to treat
Yes.
pain. Okay.
Yes.
So this is a map of the United States, and this is from 1902, and this is where a lot of that stuff was found. So they were able to kind of regulate states, and each state had kind of their own herbal cash crop, right?
Mhm.
Now,
Yes.
marijuana, cannabis was huge back then.
Yeah.
You know, so that just kind of gives people the idea that everything was plant material, and then the scientists were kind of synthesized. They weren't synthesizing it, but they were extracting it. So Eli Lilly, Pfizer, all these guys, these are actually actual people. They would
Hmm.
actually have to grow the crop and then extract the medicine. Okay.
Hmm.
Right? So you
Yes.
used to be able to get cocaine toothache drops.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You
I
could
have
go
that
get pure
slide.
cocaine
Yes.
and drop it on your tooth, or you could do whatever. But people think, oh, cocaine, the white powder that they buy off a drug dealer on the
Yeah.
corner. No, it wasn't. This was like pure extracted cocaine. It used to be in Coca-Cola, right? The cola nut,
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Pepperton.
Yep.
He was a drug addict, but Dr. Pepperton, the founder of Coca-Cola or the inventor of
Waco,
Coca-Cola,
Texas.
yeah, there you go.
Texas
Uh,
A&M.
yeah, he would use the cola nut combined with a lot of other things, and then
Yes.
add cocaine. And it was a stimulant.
Yeah, that's why there's Fanville. Woohoo! Sorry,
Woohoo!
Fanville.
Yeah,
Sorry.
everybody was messed up back then. It was great.
This is 1881, by the way, this ad. And
Yeah,
just to put this in perspective for you personally, your great grandmother,
I don't do
the
cocaine.
the second wife of your hero, your great grandfather. Okay, sorry.
Woo!
Yeah, he
Just
was the
kidding.
one that had the picture of his first wife over his bed there with his second wife. Sorry, she was a year old
Right,
when this
that was
product
great
came out.
grandpa.
That was your great grandpa's second wife, 1881. That's when this product came out.
Now,
Go ahead.
do you want to tell the story about her? Or do we want to leave the
Oh,
personal
I don't
stuff
know.
out of there? All
That's
right, let's leave the personal stuff. That's a
yeah.
funny story, though,
It is
people.
a funny story.
It is a great story
Yeah,
about my great grandfather, my dad's grandfather, but we won't get into it.
yeah.
So
We
because
won't.
this is a show about drugs.
He speaking of drugs, he died in 1926 of a root canal infection, which got into his heart and gave him a heart attack. And
Well,
she
he
got
could have used
even.
some cocaine drops.
Yeah, he should have used some cocaine drops. He'd have felt better.
What
Or
about some
some,
laudanum if you have a
yeah,
sleeping
laudanum.
baby? Just
Yeah,
give him some laudanum,
yeah. Just give
right?
the baby some laudanum. He'll
Yeah,
probably lose his IQ by about 20 points, but who cares? Come
yeah.
on.
But it's natural. That's what I'm
Yeah,
getting at. It's natural. It's
yeah.
laudanum.
There it is.
And
Okay, laudanum.
it cured
Jeez.
pain relief and yellow
Yep.
fever, cardiac disease, colds, dysentery, and excessive secretions. Dad, you could have used that.
I could have. Yes, yes. In fact, let me get my wife, honey. No, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, don't do that. You'll
No,
get
I
in
don't
trouble.
do that.
You'll be in the
Okay.
doghouse.
The
But yeah, excessive
garage.
secretions, Dad. So you could have used laudanum
I
back
could have.
then. All right. So, but those were the natural kind of things, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was the natural stuff.
Yep.
All right. And so let's get into this real quick.
Oh, geez, we don't want that. That'll
No,
make you,
not
no,
your
no. That'll make you throw up. That'll
not
take care
your
of a lot of
extract.
things. Sorry.
All right. So history
Oh,
of the pharmaceutical industry, and the reason we got to set up a base here, and
yes, we
and
do.
and and what that is okay. So here's these guys we were talking about. This is Colonel Eli Lilly. All
Yep.
right, he was in the Union Army, and back then it was mostly about pain medication because you got to
Right.
remember this was after the Civil War. Everybody was losing their legs and arms, and
Yep.
they were in a lot of pain, and they were getting infected. So they created antiseptics and stuff like that. Yeah, GlaxoSmithKline, these were German immigrants, okay, and they were building factories back in 1859. So that's these guys right here, the Beacon pills. So just to give a little piece of history, Pfizer was also creating medicines for the Union War. But you got to remember, again, what we talked about earlier was they were growing these crops. These were
Yes.
natural
Yes.
crops. These were natural plants, natural botanicals that they had to actually, you know,
Hmm.
create a factory to boil them and process them and extract the drug. Okay, and so it's not to say that they were all bad, but obviously a lot of people got addicted to them and stuff like that. And you got to remember, there was no FDA back then. There was nobody regulating any of these things. And then it wasn't around till the 1900s that actually
Hmm.
things started to change. And why did they change? Okay, so we got to kind of
Yeah.
think about what it was that was going on back then. Okay,
Hmm.
and so you had some uh, people that were, They were monopolizing. You had the oil industry was kind of
Yes.
blowing up. Okay,
John D. Rockefeller.
they were starting to, uh, you know, drill wells and use an alternative energy source other than coal. Okay, and the problem with coal is it created a lot of byproducts. All
Hmm.
right, and so let me do this real quick. I don't have my glasses on. I should probably
It's
put
all
my
right. No,
glasses
that's
on.
good.
I try not to wear my glasses, but
Well, get
it
contacts like I did.
yeah, I know, but
I know.
then you got to clean them and all that
Yeah,
crap.
crap. Oh, no, I have
All right,
extended wear.
so
Go.
then Bayer kind of came in, and Bayer was also a big heroin guy, right? So there you go. You can have
Yes.
some heroin with your
Yeah.
Bayer, with your medicine, right?
And you could buy heroin over the counter. In fact,
Yeah.
another family history thing in the 1880s, your okay, in that family photo that I showed you of your hero, your great grandfather and your grandmother. Um,
Hi,
this,
Lisa.
hi, she's replenishing
She
my
can't hear. She's
beverage stock.
replenishing your cold beverage.
Yeah, she is.
All right, everybody,
She
real
is. Okay,
quick.
thank you.
Cash App tips for
Cash App.
Lisa. All
Yes, there
right,
you
send
go.
some tips. And we
Tips for
oh,
Lisa.
wait a second, we got one. Hold on, we got some. We
Okay.
got to kind of change the show up a little bit. Let me give a
Okay.
shout out. We got a quick
Yes.
Cash App tip here. Domestic terrorist mommy just Cash Apped $5.
Wow, that's
So
good. She
thank you,
must be
domestic.
attending. She must be
Yeah,
attending school board meetings.
thank you, domestic terrorist
Yes.
mommy.
Thank you,
All
mommy.
right, and
And
hey, we got
also,
some chats going on here too.
good.
Hold on.
Go.
Doc Connector, Louis Pasteur fraudulent germ theory started big pharma or the medical industry complex. It creates a lifelong sick customer. That's
Wow.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Mark Basket says, "Let's go, Brandon."
Yes. Let's go,
All right.
Brandon.
Look at all these people. Hold
I have
on.
a
Flat Earth
class. I have a
G900
class at
cameras.
school. I have 3 Brandons in one class. I just happen to have 3 Brandons in one class. I won't say where, but one of my classes. Go ahead. So they're all upset because they're being.
Monic Simidian says no antibiotics back then. Thank you, Monic.
Wow.
You're right.
Yes. The ever
All
present.
right. Hey, how about some cube morphine pills?
Yes.
How about that? If the
Yes.
heroin doesn't work, how about take some morphine cubes, Dad?
Your
You need some morphine cubes?
well, your great grandfather at his general store in Echo Township, which was in northern Michigan, Antrim County, where Jeff Zuckerberg bought voting machines for Antrim County in Michigan for the 2020 election. Go figure, one of his companies. But anyway, they bought it, tax deferred. Okay, whatever. Wherever you want to go with that, go ahead. But Gilbert Mathewson Morrow, your great grandfather, my great grandfather had a general store in, I believe it was Boyne City or East Jordan, might have been East Jordan, Charlevoix, up there in that part of northern Michigan. So if you're from Michigan, it's right up there. Not the thumb, not Detroit, where I'm from, but up there. Anyway, he sold liquid heroin. He had heroin in jars, and you will someday inherit his ledger book from 1888, where he has how
I'll
much.
get some heroin.
Yeah, you get some heroin. Well,
All right.
you'll get the ledger book that will tell you about liquid heroin, toothache drops that had cocaine in them, and all this other stuff.
Woo!
Yes, I know. We're the
All
joint.
right. Cocaine. I'm snorting cocaine and
Yeah,
heroin tonight.
it's gonna redefine the joint, Joynt family.
Yeah,
We're gonna light up the world. But go ahead. You got John D. Rockefeller on there. Go.
all right.
I see
Well,
that.
this is where it kind of changes. This is where
Yes.
everything changes. So look at this demon. Okay. Look at this guy. I mean, if that's not a demonic
Yes.
person right there. So John D. Rockefeller, we could do a whole
Yeah.
show about him,
Yes.
right? So what happened was is he had Standard Oil,
Mm-hmm.
and he got monopolized, right? Like
Yep.
they passed the laws, right? So what he started doing was he had a lot of this byproduct from
Mm-hmm.
the oils called petrochemicals, and they created this form of plastic. It was called bakelite back then. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so John D. Rockefeller had to start getting rid of this byproduct. That's this monster demon right there on the left side of your
Mm-hmm.
screen. Okay. And so he had to get rid of this petrochemical. And so what he started doing was he spent the next 20 years basically going around and getting rid of the holistic medicine approach, the herbal approach. He basically squashed the opposition.
Yes.
And anybody who was promoting herbal medicines or holistic medicine, stuff like that, the stuff that actually cured people, okay, the natural drugs, right? He basically got rid of it. He started hiring scientists. He started getting universities to write studies about how bad these medicines were for people so that they could start promoting this synthetic medicine. And it was just a way to get rid of these petrochemicals, right?
Yes.
And you guys may say, hey, y'all are a bunch of conspiracy theorists, whatever. I don't believe you. Well, let's go over a few things that happened in history with John D. Rockefeller's petrochemicals, right?
Right.
So here we go. Back to the photos. Okay. So we had some heroin, right? You could get some cube morphine. Hey, how about some cigarettes to cure asthma?
Yeah. It clears your mind.
How about some cigarettes?
Yeah, sure.
Right? Cures asthma. FDA approved, all that. And look at the bottom, not recommended for children under 6. So if you're 7 years old, you could have a cigarette.
Have a light.
Right? Yeah, why not? Have a cigarette, right? It cures asthma. Okay. But here we go. Here we go. DDT. You want some DDT, Dad?
Yeah, sure.
You got some insects in your house?
Yeah, send them to me.
How about we spray some DDT all over your house, right?
Yeah, wow.
And look at the advertising there. It's a little kid smiling. No flies on me. Thanks, DDT.
Wow.
And what did DDT do?
He probably
caused a bunch of cancers.
He probably
all these kids.
He probably grew an extra arm somewhere.
Yeah, that's FDA approved.
Yep,
right?
FDA
That's
approved.
in the 1940s. Hey, how about some DDT wallpaper? Right? FDA approved. Why not?
Yeah.
Line your walls with DDT, right?
So we have right here.
Because,
sorry.
Yeah, because what happened, right? Some kids got stung by a bee or a wasp or a mosquito, and they got sick, right?
Wow.
So now to protect your kids, right, you have to have some DDT, some petrochemical poison sprayed all over your home, in your walls, stuff like that, right? So it's kind of like it causes. We're going to talk about the Hegelian dialect, right?
Okay, yes, that's coming
people
up.
who don't know what that is, that's coming up.
Friedrich
But this
von
is what
Hegel.
it does. It creates a scare, right? A fear, right? A problem, right?
Yep.
You got insects in your house. Well, you need to get rid. They're going to cause disease, right? How about some asbestos?
Yeah.
You want some asbestos? Well, what happens with your house? It catches on fire. Well, asbestos will cure the fire problem, right?
Wow.
If you build your house with asbestos, if you line your home with asbestos, right, it'll cure the problem.
Or build your private school with asbestos. Sorry.
Yeah,
I won't mention the private school that had to pay millions of dollars to get rid of asbestos. I won't mention the name.
But it prevented fires.
Well, yeah.
Right.
And who knows what else it did.
Right. So there was a problem.
Yeah.
Houses were catching on fire. Let's build them with asbestos, right?
Yeah. There it is.
So the reason why I bring all this up, these are just examples of it's fear mongering, right? Let's get into the Hegelian dialect. They create a problem.
Yep.
Wait for a fear-based reaction, then step in to provide a pre-planned solution.
Wow. Man.
That's the Hegelian dialect. Now, Dad, you know about the Hegelian.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead. Give some history about.
Well, I'm biting my tongue not to apply it to today, so I'm going to bite my tongue.
Well, we're not. Well,
yeah, we're not. I'm not going to say anything. Just think of today.
But
read what Friedrich von Hegel said, and he was a prince, Prussian, whatever, but he was also intellectual. It worked out that way. Yes, that's exactly right. That's what he said. Go.
No, talk about him.
Well, no.
Go for it.
He was affiliated with, I don't know how to say this.
I'm going to snort some more cocaine here.
Okay, go ahead and do that, and maybe take some of your great-grandfather's heroin.
Woo!
Yeah, there you go. All right. Jeez.
Cocaine drops.
Well, we are the Joynts, so, okay, sorry about that.
I'm just kidding, folks. I don't have cocaine.
No, we don't do that.
It's part of the big pharma joke here tonight. So.
And I've never smoked it, even though my last name is Joynt, Joynt. I've never smoked it, never tried it. But go ahead. Yeah, Hegel,
Oh, hey, wait, hold on real quick. We got a shout out.
Okay.
Thirsty Beaver. Thank you, Thirsty Beaver.
Yeah, thirsty cheese.
Thirsty Beaver
Thirsty. Oh my gosh.
gave you $10.
Oh man. Okay.
But I don't think she wants a cold beverage.
Oh, doesn't she? Okay. I'm
Okay,
not sure
go
what
for
she
it.
wants. By the way,
Probably a warm beverage.
on your it's your step grandmother's farm. There's a stream, and the beavers are building like 3 dams there, and she doesn't want to mess with them. So anyway, that's just, I don't know why I tell you that, but that's what they're doing. Okay, back to Friedrich von Hegel, Prussian, German, whatever. He had some affiliations that were with some other fellow travelers that were, I don't know about Charles Darwin because he was British, but he had some other individuals of Germanic extraction that were affiliated with communism, Marxism, okay, Leninism, Hegelian stuff. And so there was an attempt to overthrow, like the election of 1848, the revolution of 1848. Sometimes some accusations, and I didn't know this until after, maybe 10 years ago, the Reconstruction era in this country, Carl Schurz, the red shirts in America after the Civil War. Because if you realize and you read what the North did to the South with Reconstruction after the Civil War, it's had some kind of Marxist overtones. It just did. 14th and 15th Amendment, as righteous as they may have been. And Hegel was part of that group of people that was part of the liberalism of the mid 1800s. That's the best way I can explain it. And some of the stuff I've come upon more recently. So that's my historical take. Go ahead, fill in the gaps. Like we said, go from here.
Well, the Hegelian dialect is
Yes.
there's a problem that is created. They wait for the reaction from the public, and then they say, hey, we have a solution.
Mm-hmm.
That's a classic, old school pharmaceutical, big pharma company tactic, right?
Yes.
Because everybody's afraid of dying.
Yeah, follow the money. Follow the money.
That's what we're about to do. We are about to get into the money. So, folks, here we go. All right. This is a quote from an FDA official, but before we get into that, let me go real quick. Let's just do this one thing real quick. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know.
That's a big one. No. I was reading it. Go.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Real quick. Oh, we already did that. Hold on. Sorry, folks. Sorry. It's a new they changed some things on this stupid website. All right, Wikipedia, real quick before we get into the FDA, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Food and Drug Administration, right? How was it formed? When was it formed? Why was it formed? You're the expert on it. You're the historian.
Early 1900s, Teddy Roosevelt, the progressive era, quasi-liberal time period, government regulation. Government will be the tool to government. And I want you to hear this. Government will be the tool that will bring about reform. That was the apotheosis of the progressive era in American history, roughly 1890, roughly to about 1920. And that would include people in both parties. That would include not only Teddy Roosevelt, president from, I'm trying to think, the assassination of McKinley, was that 1901, 1902, until 1908, and also would include William Jennings Bryan, Democratic candidate for the presidency, never made it 3 times. The Silverites, if you remember, the silver and gold gets into monetary.
Yeah, the coinage act. Well, that was
coinage act. Yeah, this all gets thrown in there. But the progressive era was a way to have the government be the arbiter or the regulator of all sorts of things. Fire safety, triangle shirtwaist fire, 1911. Go back to the book written by Upton Sinclair, a socialist, called The Jungle, which captured America's attention in 1906 and caused the formation of the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1908, the FDA in 1908, Food and Drug Administration.
Right,
All this stuff came about.
When Rockefeller was funding all this stuff,
Yes, yes, he was. And
all this anti
yeah,
natural medicines. You got to take these synthetic drugs, which basically what they did was take a molecule of these plants and then synthesize them, and then they could create them in a lab, and
yeah,
then they would use the petrochemicals to encapsulate. They would use plastics and all sorts of stuff so that people could take these drugs easily,
yes.
right? And
And
it
to
was a
this,
way for Rockefeller to get
yeah,
rid of his byproduct, because
yeah,
guess what happened to Rockefeller?
yeah,
He got he was a monopoly,
yes.
right? And then he had to break apart his company, and then he had to find other sources of revenue. This
Sherman on,
guy was worth
yeah,
like $400 billion in today's money back then.
yes, yes, and that's a lot of money. He also was one of the founders of the Federal Reserve on St. Simon's Island in 1913, a very pivotal year in American history.
Hey, and thank you real quick, Mark Basket. I appreciate that comment. We have been lied to about everything. Ask questions and research. So thank you, Mark Basket. All right, go
Yes,
ahead, Dad.
no,
We got more viewers now, so we got to kind of keep up
I
with.
know. That's right. No, that's good. That's good. I want you to recognize that. And maybe there's
Hey,
a name.
Gulag inmate number 1776. Gulag inmate 1776. Thank you for your donation. Go ahead, Dad.
No, good. Yeah, Rockefeller, I've read different figures. I read 20 billion he was worth in 1900. That's 20 billion. I don't know
Yes.
what, I don't know
Big
what,
money.
yeah,
Huge money.
in 1900. How much is
Yes.
that? And I remember my history books,
That's a lot of money.
the ones I had to teach from were talking about J.P. Morgan during the stock market crash, kicking in $350 million. And everybody gets, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money in 1929. Well, Rockefeller had in 1900 $20 billion. He had monopolized the oil industry, and he could do with it whithersoever he would. And that would take you back into the petrochemical takeover of the natural, ways to.
And remember, this is
Yes.
plastics.
Yes. Oh man.
The petrochemicals was way back when.
Yeah.
That's 1902, 1903.
This is Herbert
So
Lay.
Herbert Lay,
Yep.
the
Wow.
former
Whoa.
commissioner of the USFDA.
Wow.
Okay, this is a quote
Yep.
from him. Okay. The FDA protects the big drug companies, and it is subsequently rewarded. And using the government's policy powers, they attack those who threaten the big drug companies. The thing that bugs me is that people think that the FDA is protecting them.
No.
It isn't. What the FDA is doing and what the public thinks it is doing are as different as night and day.
When did he say this? Does it have a year
This
there?
was back in 1942, I think.
Jeez. Before anybody was born, including myself, except for your strange great grandfather who had the picture.
Who kept the picture of his widowed wife.
Yeah, he was 1868. Sorry, that's when he was born. Sorry.
So just folks, the viewers, let's talk real quick about what impact. You got to remember, this was 70, 80 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What we've been talking about before was over 100 years ago, over a century ago. A lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
This kind of program has been around for a while, right? The pharmaceutical companies making big, big money. Now, we talked about Colonel Lilly. We talked about Pfizer, right? We talked about GlaxoSmithKline. Those companies are still around today.
Yes.
But they started with actual individuals that were named those names. Now, those individuals have since died, right? But the strategies are still in place.
Yes.
All right.
And the heirs are still out there. The descendants are still.
So since we have started with synthetic drugs, right? These aren't the natural holistic drugs that we talked about before Rockefeller got involved and started demonizing them and telling everybody that they were, he started a huge campaign. Basically, we call them today hippies, right?
Yeah.
Hippies and weirdos, and they think that plants are going to cure you. Well, that's how it's been for tens of thousands of years. It wasn't until the oil industry took over that we started synthetic medication, right?
Yep.
And we've proved that. That's a historical fact. That's not a
Hmm.
conspiracy. That's a historical fact. So every drug that has been recalled by the FDA was first proven to be safe and effective by the FDA, right? And
Hmm.
there's lots of them.
Yeah.
Benoxapropan, phenylpropylene. I can't even say half this
Hmm.
stuff, right? But these are all synthetic drugs.
Some of them, there's one up there that's the ingredient in Diet Coke. I don't know. I don't want to say it, but it's up there. You have it on there.
Phenylfluoramine or
Yeah,
something.
something. Yeah, that's crazy. Can't drink, can't smoke, but you can drink phenylphoramide with your whatever else you're going to do.
Oh,
Wow.
we got another
All right.
redacted Rick.
Yes.
Thank you, redacted Rick.
Yes. Thank you, Rick.
$5. And then Mark
Wow.
Basket said again, everything can be cured by nature. Exactly. That's what we're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about. Thank
Sure.
you. Thank you, Mark.
Mark, does that include cannabis? Sorry.
I'm probably, yeah, he's
Yeah.
probably pro pot.
Yeah. PGP oil, whatever that is.
All right. So let's follow the money.
Yeah. Go.
All right. So here we go. Step 1, determine R&D priorities. That's research and development by
Mm-hmm.
professional profits alone. So before they even do anything, are they
Mm-hmm.
going to profit from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Step 2, abuse patents to lock up knowledge, inflate prices, and limit supply,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Step 3, direct the system towards the needs of high-income countries.
Wow. That's us.
We saw a lot of that just recently,
Yep.
right? Remember Argentina? They were trying to get their military bases to give them the medicine for the current pandemic,
Yeah.
right? All right. Direct the system towards the needs. Okay. So step 4, avoid public accountability.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
what do we have going on right now?
Yeah. Sure.
Limited liability,
Yep. Yep.
protected
Sign. You
liability.
sign it
Nobody can
off
sue us.
when the guy
Now,
gives
wait a
you. Yep.
second, though. Wait a
Yeah.
second. And this is where we got to kind of be
Yeah.
real with each other. So, all right. So, Ronald Reagan in 1985 signed you remember this. Okay. I know you remember this.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Reagan gave all pharmaceutical companies and gave, I think it was like 300
Yep.
vaccines.
Yep.
He gave them all immunity.
Yep.
They could not be sued. And so
Yep.
they started a program to where the government would pay for it. Everybody thinks that just happened. No, it didn't. It
No.
happened in 1985.
Republicans.
Okay. And that was by a Republican
Yep.
because guess what? The
Get that.
Republicans are getting paid just as much as the
Yep.
Democrats.
Yep.
And
Yep. Yep.
when the pharmaceutical companies donate to these campaigns, they usually donate more to who they think is going to win. But
Mm-hmm.
back then, Ronald Reagan, everybody thinks Ronald Reagan's the greatest, whatever, but he was given a lot of money by the pharmaceutical industry
Yep.
to, whatever. All right. Step 5, design clinical trials for self-interest. Now, we're going to come up on a graph here soon. That clinical trials part, you will be amazed about how little money they spend on clinical trials.
Yeah.
And what you want to know about clinical trials is basically the testing of these
Yes.
drugs,
Animal
right?
testing.
It's the lowest.
Yep.
Drug companies spend the least amount of money of their whole portfolio, their whole income on clinical trials.
Yeah.
The safety of the drugs. Remember this because we're going to show you a graph here in a couple minutes. All right. Step 6, social risk, prioritize profits. Okay. Social risk. What are those? Okay. 7, embrace public investment, reject public returns. So that's basically attack anybody who comes against. So they run smear campaigns. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that is, smear
Oh man.
campaigns. 8, impose unjustifiable, unchallenged prices. Because guess what happens? Supply and demand. There's a disease that outweighs the supply, right?
Yeah.
So they can just jack up the price, jack up the price, jack up the price. Remember, pharmaceutical companies aren't curing diseases, they're treating them, right?
Right.
Step 9, financial innovation. Step 10, lobby pervasively. What's lobby
Jeez.
mean?
Yeah.
They get in the pockets
Yep.
of the politicians.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. Pharmist, R&D investment. Research and development. That's what R&D means. Okay, so if you look at this graph, and the reason why I brought up this graph is I want
Right there.
people to pay attention
Yep.
to the
Wow.
promotions, right? 15 billion in
Wow.
promotions. That's the biggest part of the pie, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
what I want people to pay attention to is this little tiny red sliver right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Now, this is in 2012. This is
Wow.
9 years ago. So I'm pretty sure it's gotten a lot smaller, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in 2012, this little tiny red sliver, guess what that was for? Clinical trials,
Wow.
which means this is the amount of money we're studying to decide the
To see
effects
if,
of how
yeah.
our drugs are affecting
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
It's the smallest part of the pie.
And this is before the pandemic. So we're
This is
not,
2012.
yeah, we're not criticizing.
We're not talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah. Yeah.
anything current, okay?
No, this is
That's not what this
2012.
show is about. We're talking
Yeah.
about the history.
Right.
So, how do you feel about that, Dad?
Hmm.
How do you feel about now? You don't take a lot of
Yeah.
drugs.
No.
You're not on any kind
No.
of you. And I know Lisa.
No, she
She
doesn't
takes
either.
great care of you,
Yeah.
and she had some problem, some health
Yes.
issues, and we're not
Yes.
going to discuss them here on
No.
live
No.
on the show
Sure.
and with the internet.
But she
But
chose natural stuff.
she's very natural, yes.
Yes.
And you guys look
Yeah.
great, and you're not on any
No.
medications. You don't suffer from any
No.
side effects. She mills her own wheat.
Yes.
There's air filters. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah. We have everything. We
that
have. Yeah.
woman will keep you.
Yeah.
If you need to dedicate the
Right.
rest of your life to her, seriously, because you would have been dead a long time
Yeah. I
ago.
would have been.
She's probably kept you
Yeah.
alive and kept you
Definitely.
off these synthetic drugs
Yes.
for a long time. And she uses a lot of holistic medicine.
Yes.
And the problem is back in the Rockefeller days, you got to remember 100 years now, people have been trained to think
Yeah.
that holistic medicine people are crazy.
Yeah.
They're witch doctors. They're
Yeah.
all these different things. And it's
No.
not true.
No. And that's a good point. And what really impresses me is that little thin red line of clinical trials. That is so terrible. It should
Isn't that
be
crazy?
It should be way bigger. And
15 billion
Yeah.
spent on promotions.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I
Look at the green part.
Yeah.
Samples.
Yeah.
You know what samples are?
Go.
All right. I'm going to tell you a little story.
Yeah, go.
Real quick, because we don't have a lot of time.
No, go.
All right. So when I worked in healthcare for about 8 years, I worked in hospitals. All right. And I got to meet all the big I got to meet them all. Right.
Yeah.
All the big wig doctors at the hospitals that I worked at. And so I remember I was working at this one hospital. I worked there for about a few years, and I started dating a nurse, and she was a little bit younger than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was in the cafeteria at the hospital, and the director of urology, the chief of urology, and I were good friends. I did some dinners for him at his house and stuff, and he and I were good friends. And he saw me in the cafeteria. He's like, "Man, you look a little tired." I was like, "Yeah, man. Well, I'm dating this young girl, and she wants to whatever all the time, right?" Now he's urology, so sorry, Dad. So he's like, "All right, well, whatever,
Yeah.
man. Just do what you can." And then the next day I saw him, right? Yeah, no, I didn't need that. So the next day he comes into the cafeteria and he hands me this plastic bag, right?
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, it's this shopping bag or whatever.
Yeah.
It's this brown bag. He's like, here, this will help you with your young girlfriend, right?
Jeez.
So I go back to my office, and it's Viagra samples.
Oh, jeez.
It's samples of Viagra, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But it's samples. It's not a prescription. It's just samples. It's like one pill in a little pack. And I'm like, what the hell, man? This guy is just pushing drugs on, thinking that I just need to take care of this person.
Yeah, sure.
And but I didn't take it.
Yeah.
I was scared of it. I didn't want I didn't want one of those 4-hour problems that they have.
Oh, jeez.
But sorry, Dad. It's part of the show.
It's part of the show.
It's part of the show.
Part of the show.
But so anyways, that's my point is samples. So they push and we got to bring up this article right here.
Okay, bring it up.
Yeah, let me get another article going here real quick.
we're gonna be off the air. We're
sorry.
off the air after.
No, we're
tonight.
not. No, we're not. No,
Okay.
we're not. It's
All
fine.
right.
It's
okay.
fine.
YouTube.
Okay, that's the wrong
gosh.
one. That's
God bless
the wrong
YouTube.
one. Sorry. I will, we gotta start being a little personal here.
I love YouTube. Go.
All right. Is that it? No, that's not it. God dang it. Where is it?
All right, we froze. Go. There it is. Yeah. Executive summary, whatever that is. We froze
Well, I was
up.
trying to. I guess. I guess I got lost there.
Yeah. Gee,
I
so
was
did
talking
I.
about my young.
So did I.
My
So did
young.
I get lost.
Oh,
Hey,
Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeffrey just joined.
Jeffrey.
TVMA.
Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
Sorry, Jeff.
Jeffrey. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to the
Jeffrey's
slideshow.
pretty smart though. We gotta have him on.
He wants to come on.
Yeah, your
He's
younger
just got a
brother,
busy life.
my middle son, the negotiator.
All
He's
right,
pretty
drug
bright.
companies. Let's just get into this. Drug company
Yeah.
spending. Research and development. Look at that. That little bar.
Wow.
Marketing.
Wow.
They want you to buy their drugs.
Yeah.
If it was all about health and safety, that bar would be reversed, right? It would be research
Yeah.
and development would be the big
Yeah.
bar
Yep.
because they want to cure diseases,
Yeah.
right?
No, they don't.
I think they just want you to be sick.
They want money.
Look at this, big pharma products.
Yeah. Profits.
Opioids.
Profits.
Look at this.
Yes.
Opioids. This is
Yeah.
just the opioid epidemic.
This is our
This is
epidemic.
nothing else. This
Yep.
is just the opioids. So they spent $9 billion in creating opioids.
Yeah.
And then if you had a side effect, they gave you drugs that treated the opioid side effects, right? Then if you have an overdose, they gave you a drug that treated that. And then they only donated 1.4 billion in to treat the addiction. So again, remember the Hegelian dialect
Yep.
that we
Yep.
talked about
Yep.
earlier?
Create the problem.
Create the no.
Sorry.
Yep, create the problem,
Yep.
cause the fear,
Yep.
right? Cause the reaction, and then the solution,
Mm-hmm.
right? Big pharma.
Mm.
Now, if you work for big pharma nowadays, we remember, let's go back a couple years. There was a guy named Scott Gottlieb, right? He was in charge of the FDA,
Right. FDA.
right?
Yep.
Well, and then he gets booted out, right? Because
Yep.
the guy below him gets the job. But then guess where Scott Gottlieb gets to work?
He gets to work for Pfizer.
He gets to work for Pfizer. He's on the board
Wow.
of directors.
Wow.
Wow, huh?
Yeah.
Politicians being
rotating
just
square
kinda,
dance. It's a square dance.
right,
They change
right.
partners.
And let's go into this article right here. This is a great one. Right here. All right, so this is what this executive summary is. All right, so I want you to pay attention to this part right here.
Mm-hmm.
GlaxoSmithKline, right?
Yep.
This right here. They got a $3 billion fine after they admitted to giving kickbacks to doctors in the U.S.
Jeez.
and encouraging the prescription and unsuitable antidepressants to children.
Wow. Wow.
Doctors and their spouses were flown to 5-star restaurants,
Yeah.
giving $750 and access to snorkeling, golf, and deep sea fishing. And then the corporation also published an article on Medical Journal which misled about the safety of a drug in children, and then used the piece to drum up business, right? The
Yep.
Hegelian dialect right
Create
there.
the problem. Create the problem.
Create the problem, cause the fear,
Yep.
and then you give them the solution. Remember the asbestos and the DDT and all that we showed earlier?
And Friedrich von Hegel was from a wealthy family. Go figure. Why is he doing this if he's already got inheritance?
Well, the rich get richer.
Yeah, I know. Yep, that's it.
Yep. You and I,
we get beverages.
We get a cold beverage and we're begging for $5. All right. So Stephen Hahn, remember Stephen Hahn?
Yes.
Remember Trump's
Yep.
COVID whatever?
Yeah, and he's working for Pfizer.
He was the head of the FDA. No, now he's working for a venture capitalist firm that funds Moderna.
Wow.
So he got a big job.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is a Trump supporter. This is a Trump supporter.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if they're Republicans or Democrats.
Thank you.
You have to follow the money, right? That's what
Money.
this show is about. We're not
Money right
talking
there.
about whatever.
No.
Now I know people, and then this James C. Smith, right?
Yep.
Who did he work for?
Hmm.
Reuters, which is a
Yeah.
big news publication, kind of
Big,
like a
big news
CNN.
outlet. Yep.
Well, guess who he works for now?
Pfizer.
Pfizer.
Yep. Wow.
And then we have Fauci, but we're
Yeah.
not
Who
going to get
cares?
into Fauci. We're
He's been in
not.
a lot of trouble here in the last 48
Yeah, we're not
hours.
going to talk about that. Okay, but
No,
this is
let's
what I
not.
want to talk about too. This is the political affiliation, right?
Wow.
So Republican is in red, Democrat is in blue.
Not much difference.
Not much difference.
No.
Pfizer donates to both.
Yeah. Please take note of
Amgen
that.
donates to both.
Yeah.
And we're talking hundreds of millions. We're talking
Yep.
millions of
Yep.
dollars, right? So the Republicans are just as bad as the Democrats, right?
Yep.
They're taking political
Yep.
donations, and it's always been like this. Nothing changed.
Yep.
Rockefeller started it in the 1900s to get his
Mhm.
petrochemicals pushed, and now we're seeing the same things. So when you see Lindsey Graham and you see all these,
Yeah.
high-end Republicans, maybe other than Rand Paul, I would say,
Yeah.
because he kind of follows
Yeah.
his dad.
He's
But
probably the only one.
well, but you never know, man. They're
Yeah.
all they don't do anything. They don't do
No.
anything about it. It's just the
No.
way it's always been. So you kind of think that Pharma runs the government.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money involved. It's the biggest
Yeah.
industry in the world
Follow the
is
money.
drugs. The biggest industry in the world is drugs.
Those guys have become billionaires. Some of those
Yeah.
farmer guys that weren't anymore, but now they are. Yep. Okay.
Doc
Well done.
Connector, the war on drugs is highly profitable. Yes, Doc Connector, you are right.
Yes. Yeah. Read some more. You got any more there? Because we're wrapping it up
Yeah,
here.
we got another donation. Vax Balls.
Jeez.
Thank you, Vax Balls,
Vax
for
balls.
the $5.
Wow.
Karen's Lover,
Jeez.
$10.
$10 from Karen's lover.
Yeah, Bong Hit Bob.
Wow.
Thank you, Bong Hit Bob. All right. Here
Bong
you go,
Hit
Big
Bob.
Pharma. Here's your opioids. See you
Yep.
next week and 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 next week. Right?
Yeah. That's sad. Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You don't cure
man.
the disease. You just
Give
it's a
them-
perpetual
Perpetual drug
cycle.
merry-go-round is what I've heard it's called. Explain to this what this is real quick. Go.
It's
Go.
just a meme.
Okay.
You know how I like to end things on a
Yeah,
meme.
sure.
Please don't confuse your internet research with my medical degree. And then the internet guy who has the big chin and
Yeah.
please don't confuse your God complex and financial incentives from Big Pharma with my ability to research with the most powerful tools in the history of mankind.
Yeah, wow, he's right. Yeah, wow. Well done. Well done to everybody. Thank you for your support. Seriously. It's been great. Great show, man. Big Pharma.
Good show. Yeah,
The
Big Pharma.
Rockefellers. The
Now
Rockefellers.
let's do a quick little 5-minute takeaway.
Go.
And then
Go. Do it.
you got to remember when you're independent,
Yep.
the government works for you, and when you're dependent, you work for the government.
Yeah.
So,
We're trying to be independent.
yes. So now let's real quick your takeaway. We didn't get into a whole lot of conspiracy.
No.
People want to hear about,
No, this is
the
good.
point of this show is just history repeating
Yep.
itself.
A good
this is
platform. You laid
This is nothing. This is nothing
Yeah.
new. This is nothing new.
No.
You have the Hegelian dialect that's been going on for a
Yep.
long time.
create the
Lots
problem.
Create the problem. Wait for the fear. Wait for the public's reaction,
Yep.
and then you have a solution, and then you make billions of dollars.
Yep. Money.
Right?
All right,
Big
there you go.
money.
Yep. Well done.
All right, Dad. I love you.
Love you too.
Thank
see
you,
you
everybody.
guys.
Let me give a
Bye-bye.
quick shout out again. Domestic Terrorist Mommy. Domestic Terrorist Mommy actually asked if you could run for school board.
I live in Broward County. So I don't.
Well, she doesn't
Florida.
care. I think she donated the show and she wants to know if
Okay, well,
Domestic Terrorist Mommy wants to know if you'll run for the school.
I can't run for something where I don't live. So
Right, but in South Florida, maybe.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, I don't
All
know. It's a thought. I'm an old man, and old man with a young wife, There you go. All right.
God bless her.
It's the money. Yes, do it. All righty.
All right, Dad. I love you.
Love you too. See you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Thank
Dad,
you.
take the night.
Okay, I will.
Get your
8 minutes. 8
All right.
minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining, and we appreciate all the chats. We appreciate all the donations. We'll see you all next week. Have a good night.